There's a framework that's called the Planetary boundaries, which identifies Earth's systems that humanity depends on and quantifies whether we've overshot Earth's capacity to provide for us. And these systems include the climate system, the oceans, the agricultural and land use system, our atmosphere. And in all of these, or many of these dimensions, we've overshot. Humanity is pulling more from the Earth than Earth's capacity to regenerate itself. So generations ahead of us might be in a situation where the natural ecosystems upon which we depend are simply not able to sustain life as we know it in the same way. You think of extremes like large rises in sea level if you have Antarctic ice caps melt into the ocean, for example. That would mean our coastal cities are underwater. Most of humanity lives on the coasts. So thinking about future generations and what their lives will be like, I would like to avert the worst possibilities in terms of climate and biological disaster. I've got two big projects to support governments over the next year. One of them is helping students build dashboards for governments. Think of them as kind of war room type dashboards where governments can see by neighborhood in their own countries, in their own cities, how are they making progress towards the agreed upon 2030 Sustainable Development Goals that span issues of poverty, issues of environmental sustainability, and issues of social inclusion. And deploying these data tools would help governments be much more specific about knowing which parts of their societies are on track or off track, and what issues are most relevant. And so the idea is to deploy data so that governments can be much more purposeful and precise in targeting public resources to close these gaps. On another project, I'm working to support Amazonian governments, so the governments of the Amazon basin, with early warning systems for infectious disease. So using climate outputs from satellites that would then tell ministries of health which areas are likely to have a dengue outbreak, for example, over the next few weeks, and make suggestions in terms of how to allocate public health resources, nurses, doctors, medicines, bed nets, in ways that are proactive so that the amount of human suffering, the amount of excess disease burden can be reduced using the science. Over the last few decades, we've made tremendous progress in some of the challenges of sustainable development. Importantly, hundreds of millions of people have been brought out of extreme poverty in countries around the world. That's hugely important. Meanwhile, for the challenges on the environmental side, like climate change, we have new economically available technologies like electric vehicles, like photovoltaic cells for solar power, that were prohibitively expensive only a decade or two ago. And now the challenge is scaling up the rolling out of these technologies quickly so that we can transition our system to be green before it's too late.